Cruisin' 92.1 is WVLT Vineland, serving the Delaware Valley with the best music and the best talk.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program do not necessarily reflect that of radio station WVLT, Clear Communications Incorporated, its staff and management, or our sponsors. WVLT Clear Communications Incorporated retains the right to record all phone calls received during this program for future promotions.
It's Main Street Money again, every Saturday from 1 to 2. I'm Joe Yakovich, and my co-host is Tracy Cully. Hello, Tracy.
Hi, Joe. Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone. Today, another, I guess, volatile day in the market. It's all over the place, and we all know that. And I think one of the reasons why people think this market, they don't know what to do when we talk about it, is because technologies have made it where we don't know what direction it's going in. A lot of people are so emotionally tied into it. So I'm always wondering when I look at the news, Tracy, because I just saw some stuff today. It was just, it's Bernanke speaks and the market changes on a dime. It's really funny.
I know, right? People wonder if, well, there is speculation that he says certain things to try to skew the market to go one way or another.
Yeah. Our good friend of ours passed away the other day.
Big loss, big loss. I actually was really, really upset when I found this out the other day. James Gandolfini, age 51, passed away.
Alias Tony Soprano. Yes.
I'm such a fan. And, such a great Jersey guy and Rutgers alumni, my fellow, my fellow alumnus.
I was waiting for that. Yes.
I know, man. He was a supporter. He was a big Rutgers supporter.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, you guys, the seats where you have when you're watching the games, are not too far from.
He was behind us, actually.
Yes, nice.
Tony knew his place.
Great guy.
No, that's how awful. I actually watched a couple clips this morning from The Sopranos. Not that nothing annoys me more than some of these overdrawn mafia movies, but I liked him. I liked him a lot, and he was just complex and
he did a great job.
Lovable, but a murderer and a criminal.
No, with Falco, the way they played with each other on the show.
And dare I say, he made Fat look a little handsome.
I would go, well, yeah, he was a little overweight. I was a little shocked at 51 heart attack.
Well, he was a little overweight. I mean, gosh.
That much to have a heart attack? I mean, that was...
You know what?
I'm sorry to hear that.
I don't know what his medical was. So.
Our good friend that did so much, his series ran Sopranos, 5-6 years? And
who knows?
It was great stuff.
That means there will be no Sopranos, the movie.
Yeah.
Kind of thought there might be.
Bad.
That's
and
a
another
shame.
Another giant jet kicker, Jennings, passed away. I think he was about 61. A great punter for the Giants, and a short time for the Jets. Also passed away. I think he passed away from dementia.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, he just passed away too.
I don't actually know who
it is. A bad week, in sports and in acting. So
on a positive note, it is summertime officially. I do think. So
yes,
summertime. Yesterday was
here.
The longest day of the year?
Was it?
I don't know if that's the solstice.
Were you out last night or the other day before? Didn't you have a?
I've been out all week.
Yes. Was it?
Well, Wednesday was Center City Sips in the
How was that?
Philadelphia. I went and checked that out. Very crowded, actually. I have to say, they every Wednesday in the summer they do a whole bunch of the really good restaurants and bars there. Just participate in a happy hour and drink specials and things like that to try to promote a little bit of commerce in the city. But I have to tell you, the first place I went to, because I was thinking of outside places outside, and I walked up to it and thought, this is ridiculously crowded. I'm talking like 300 people.
Oh, whoa.
And, the first 30 minutes was excellent people watching, and then I felt like I was back in a frat party somewhere, and I thought it's time to go somewhere. It's just a very young crowd. Yeah. Not all over, but
young,
depending on
younger than you?
Yeah.
We have on coming at the next break Senator Beach. So I'm looking forward to hearing what he has to say. He's been a friend of ours and a client of ours for some 20 years, so we're looking forward to hear the senator after the break. So we'll be talking about that.
He's been a long-time Joe Yakovich supporter here.
Yeah,
he's been one of your clients for a long time, and always always there to help somebody else out. He's really an advocate of
Yeah, Jim
New
Beach has
Jersey.
been a big advocate of ours, and we endorsed a lot of his things that he believes in. And one thing with the vets, matter of fact, we also are going to be guest speakers on a panel at McGuire Air Force Base this Sunday with about, I think, 200 airmen. So I'm looking forward to that. It's an honor and a privilege to be able to be asked to speak in front of those gentlemen. I don't know. I know what I'm going to say, but it's going to be somewhat humbling to be in a room full of people that, not only that have protected us, but I can say I've never been on enemy soil, so I don't know what it feels like. So you know what? And that's something else, Tracy. I was just wondering the other day. I was going to ask you, not to jump streams, but you know what? I love to be able to engage with the vets, but you know what? Also, I don't think maybe the average person they don't know how to do it. I don't know what the people that are vets, how they think about us when because I want to come up to them and give them a big hug and kiss and say, listen, thank you, thank you, thank you. But I don't know if the average person.
I think some people definitely do. I've spent enough time around service people and veterans, and I definitely think a lot of people do. I've seen people in airports, and I've actually been on two planes where people were flying back overseas, and everybody gave them a round of applause and filled in
Right.
little like a little notebook full of little encouraging words. So I think they do. I think
I'd like to see more of
you're
that, though. I don't see as much as maybe you do.
misunderstood there.
I'd like to see more of it. I mean, I don't know if it's as appreciated as
Well,
it should
Joe,
be.
Be the change that you want to see in the world.
Whew, that was deep.
Humbly and silently be the change that you want to be. in the world.
Okay. Spoken like
Actually, in another piece of fluff, and talk about sad day for New Jersey. I heard that there is talk of the Travel Channel bringing a Baywatch style show to Wildwood.
Do they
New
need
Jersey.
me on that show?
You know what? Can't get much worse, so go for it. Go for it. Throw on your Speedo. I mean, we're talking train wreck of a show in the making. So
Really?
I think, come on. You had David Hasselhoff and all these like California beach bodies of Baywatch. I mean, I'm not saying it was good acting, and you're going to go down to Wildwood and try to
Wildwood.
recreate that. Come on.
I love Wildwood. Come on.
But
Good stuff.
I think you should submit your audition tape to it. I think that's a win-win there.
Any serious news? Can we start off, or you would rather wait to the end of the first break? I mean, you went from Wildwood to Sopranos
I'm just telling you all the
to
stuff that's in the news in our
yes,
area.
and Philadelphia. You globally took this another area. I like it.
I globally took it right back to what I call my bubble. Right
Your
here,
bubble.
right here in New
Anything-
Jersey, Philadelphia.
Anything else happening in the world of Miss Kelly these days?
There's all kinds of stuff. I'm ready to hear what you have to say. I'm going to accompany you to the McGuire Air Force
I know you are.
Base.
I'm looking forward to
We'll
that.
see. We'll see what goes on there.
we're,
we always want to help those people, and we're going to go, and you'll be speaking about the importance of leadership and financial responsibility. Such a fun
Yeah,
word.
we're going to be talking about teamwork and how we as a firm work with our clients and all of you. We're going to show them and tell them about the philosophy that we have, and we're going to have fun with it. And a lot of them, the vets, obviously from past, we've heard the unemployment rate for them are probably about 20%. So
Yeah,
we're
it's
somewhat
high.
concerned. And
It's high.
And I remember Mike Ferrara that came on 2 weeks ago talked about that. One of the reasons why, and it's just upsetting.
Yeah, and not just and the senator will talk further about this, but not
Yeah.
just the military people themselves, but their families and their spouses
Right.
have a lot of issues and concerns with unemployment. It's just
Big
very
issue.
sad.
And one thing we will say before Senator Beach comes on is that not only we've been a big fan of his, and he's been a big advocate for the vets, but he endorses them in a lot of his committees that he's on, and we are happy and very much happy to have him on to talk to us about the vets and some of the things that he's working on and doing for the vets. So we're looking forward to hearing what Senator Beach has to say at the break.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm kind of cool with that. It's going to be a
You're
fun,
cool with that?
fun
You're
hour.
all right with that?
Cool with that. I mean, remember, Senator Beecher's been a good friend of ours and a client of ours, and he knows what he's talking about, and people love him. I mean, this region, 6th district, and he's been doing it for a long time.
Well, Lord knows that we could use the help. You
Yeah,
know, there's
yeah.
a lot going on, especially tax-wise, New
we,
Jersey property taxes, especially, man. People
Right, and that's a big concern.
are not happy with them, myself
We
included.
didn't go into it too much, but that was a subject we stayed away from, or
Because
will
you know
stay
what?
away from when we do
Sometimes-
have them on. So we're
Stick to the positivity here.
Yeah,
At least as much as possible. Hey, it's summertime, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. He's a good guy. So we're and we see him all the time. I mean, we see him. He's at our office at least once a month. We're talking or doing some things together. And
Well, yeah, trying to collaborate and doing a lot of things to educate the veterans on things that we can do to help them, and also just, benefits that are available out there that they're not taking advantage of and spouses aren't taking advantage of. So,
Yeah.
I had another client in the other day, and I asked him, are you on VA benefits for anything? Because you might be able to get your prescriptions for free and not have to go through Medicare.
Right.
And he was unaware of that. And I said, you might be saving $50, $60 a month. That's a big deal when you're on a fixed income.
And and that's funny you say that, and not funny, but in a right way. That's kind of what we do all the time. We make people aware of things that sometimes they don't even think about, and when we do, they're shocked, and we're not shocked. We feel good about it, but more importantly, they never know until it happens, and all of a sudden they go, "Oh, I'm eligible for that?" Yes, you are. So you do a great job on that area in terms of the Medicare situation. So I'm happy that we're having success in that.
Yeah,
that area.
it's a confusing, frustrating little world of Medicare health insurance, and we're always trying to help people out with that. So I hope that everybody will stick with us after the break, and we have Senator Jim Beach with us. So please stick around after the break and hear some stuff that's going on in New Jersey.
Listen to me, listen to me.
I heard you, Joe.
I mean the listening audience, Tracy.
Okay, when?
Every Saturday at 1 o'clock, we get real about money and we have fun.
That's right. We'll simplify all the issues when it comes to your money and give you some tips on how to make it, protect it, and keep it.
But they have to listen.
Okay, you can only ask nicely.
All right. That's Main Street Money with Joe Yakovich and Tracy Kelly, Saturday at 1 p.m. on Cruisin' 92.1 WVLT. Yes, we're back with Main Street Money with Joe Yakovich and Tracy Kelly, and we do have our guest in the studio today. We have Senator Jim Beach. Senator Beach is a Camden County clerk from 96 to 08, and now, or was on the Camden County Board of Freeholders from 92 to 95, and director in 93, and now, since 09, Jim has served as the state senator in the 6th district. He's a lifelong and lifetime member of the Camden County, residents in Voorhees, and one of our good friends. And we're very, very happy to not only have him in our studio, but more importantly, he's very, very active in supporting our vets. So, Jim, welcome to the studio.
Thanks, Joe.
All right, before we get going here, Jim, you've got to tell us, because you've got a bit of a history with Joe. How long have you guys known each other?
I guess I met Joe a little over 20 years ago. He was making a presentation to my parents, and I wound up following up and actually becoming not only a client, but a friend.
Absolutely. We love seeing you in and out of the office. Let's talk about what's going on in Jersey. Joe, you want to start hitting your client with some questions
Yeah,
here?
Jim. I mean, we look at national news, but in the local level in New Jersey, what are you seeing happen? We had Lou Greenwald on a couple of weeks ago and gave us some breakdown on what's going on legislation. What's going on your end with these days with supporting the vets, and what's on the top things listed today in the House?
Well, Joe, we've, as you know, I'm the chairman of the Senate Military and Veterans Affairs Committee, and that's quite an honor. And every time I say that, I usually follow it up and say thank you to our Senate President, Steve Sweeney. Also, I'd like to mention the members of the Senate Military and Veterans Affairs Committee, because they really are extremely important to the success of our veterans in New Jersey. had Senator Donald Norcross from Camden and Gloucester County. We have Senator Van Drew from down in Cape May, Cumberland County. Senator Diane Allen from Burlington County, and Senator Chris Connors from Ocean County. And they do just a wonderful job with all of our programs with the vets. We're doing a lot of things. Obviously, we try to assist our veterans community as well as active military. So we have quite a few bills that we've processed through our committee to try to help with things like employment, help with spouses. I think one of the things that is definitely overlooked is the impact on families when our military guys are headed over to Iraq and Afghanistan, and when they come home, they face a lot of issues.
Yeah, we had Master Commander Ferraro on last week, and he was talking about what's happening with the vets in terms of unemployment. It was a big problem, and we're seeing that. I think it was the number we heard last week was close to 20%.
It's high, yeah.
And unemployment nationally wise. So we were concerned about that, as you are too. So.
What's going on though? What are you doing in the
here's-
Senate to try to get these people back to work?
Well, here's what we're doing. First of all, that 20% figure is actually probably a little low because there are a lot of young men and women that are interested in coming out of the service, but because of the employment picture, they stay in. So that's,
okay.
so when you take a look, and you can probably estimate that 20% unemployment figure could be as high as 35 or even 40% when you see the young men and women that stay in the military because there isn't unemployment opportunities. Some of the things that we've done, we've worked with spouses. The unemployment rate for military spouses is estimated by the Department of Defense to be about 26%, which is also ridiculously high.
Wow.
Absolutely.
So some of the things we've done is we've introduced quite a few bills, of which some have actually been signed into law by the governor, to assist military spouses. One of the things that we're doing is if you are a nurse and you are relocated into the state of New Jersey, there are certain certifications and licensures that, they are not reciprocal among the other states. So I know a lot of the state legislatures around the country through the administration are trying to establish reciprocal agreements. And because of our joint base, we do process quite a few out-of-state individuals. So one of the specific things is to have these reciprocal certifications. If you are certified in another state, you come to New Jersey as a military spouse, that a license or certification can come with you. Some of the other things that we do too, just really try to apply common sense. For example, you could have someone that has operated a truck in the military and heavy equipment for 15, 20 years. They get out, and motor vehicles requires them to take a test for a commercial driver's license. Now, that just doesn't make much sense. So we sponsored a bill, and I was fortunate to sign on to that bill that says, hey, guess what? If you can show the what you did during the service, your time in the service, we could transfer those skills, and then the Commissioner of Motor Vehicles could waive some of the criteria.
Okay.
I know, Jim, you've been a big advocate of the vets, and we've been involved with your organizations with that. You actually came, and you come every year actually for our Toys for Tots events, and we're happy that you've been part of that. Just breaking away from the vets for a second, and we have a lot of viewers and listeners, I should say, that listen to us about the state economy and the market and what have you. What's your view on the state economy today in New Jersey?
Well, I think New Jersey, we're doing a lot better, and especially here in South Jersey, we are coming back. I know housing starts are a little more promising. And as we go through some of the financial indicators, I don't think we are as bad off as some of the other, not only states in the United States, but in the global economy. There's a lot of other countries that
absolutely.
are suffering much more than we are. I think there's a lot of indicators that are positive, but when we take a look at our unemployment rate, it's still hovering around 10%. And even that is not accurate because there are a lot of people that have just given up looking for jobs.
Right.
So we need to do a heck of a lot more to make sure that we're providing opportunities for not only our vets and our young military, but for all the people of South Jersey.
Yeah, it's an interesting, I guess, fact that people don't know. I didn't even know it until recently, is that if you've given up on looking for a job, you're no longer considered in that unemployment statistic. So there are people out there jobless, but because they've given up, they're not in that statistic. So the number is actually higher than we really know.
Oh, it absolutely is. And last year I served on the Senate Labor Committee, and we were always trying to get our arms around that because we talked about the unemployment rate, but is that a true reflection of really what
What's
is
going
out
on?
there? Yeah.
We have
You want to go?
I do, because this
Okay.
is important. We know there's a trend going on with not only older, wealthier, retirees flocking to places like Delaware and Pennsylvania, but New Jersey's not attracting the younger families and the younger worker. So we're losing a lot of that either income producing potential or the retiree that can be taxed. I don't know. What can we do about that?
Well, I think you said a key word, can be taxed, and I
Sure.
think that we need to do the very best we can to get everybody is concerned about their property taxes, and we need to do everything we can to do more with less. And I think as we went through this economic downturn, whatever that title that you use for it, a lot of businesses, a lot of our companies learned that they could do more with less. So I think government has to follow in those footsteps, and so I'm anxious to be a part of that.
I know you're a big advocate of Christie, right? Governor Christie, our governor. But
Well-
before I answer that, before I ask,
Okay.
how do you feel he did a job with this? The biggest thing we saw was the Hurricane Sandy. How do you think he handled that?
Well, actually, I think he did a fine job with that because he put politics aside and put the people of New Jersey as in the forefront. And I think that's what he and President Obama did. I think there's still so much work to do. There are still a lot of people that are not back in their homes, and so there's an awful lot to do. And when the governor has a good idea, I certainly support that. And when I don't think he has a good idea, I don't support that. And I think that Washington could learn a lot from the state of New Jersey because we have been able to compromise and get a lot accomplished, whereas it appears like it's gridlock down in D.C.
Yeah.
Well, and it certainly seems that way sometimes between, we had the fiscal cliff and all those things where it's just things sometimes to the public feel like they're not getting accomplished and they're not getting done. And I do think sometimes it's just that partisan not being able to get, over onto the other side to shake hands.
Well, I think too that we kind of feel like we're as one of the general public are the people in D.C. that are making these decisions. Are they really putting us first? And they should. So I think that sometimes that I think we're all disappointed and a little frustrated because they just see gridlock and nothing positive happening.
Well, and the media loves to dramatize that.
Well, if it's in the media, it has to be true.
And on the internet, that it really must be true. Senator, we talk a lot of statistics, retirees coming into, their non-working years, and a lot of them being, for lack of a better term, broke. after a few years. The average savings account for retirement is $212,000, and that just doesn't cut it anymore. So with all this frustration, people not knowing where to go, what to do with Medicare, things like that, how do you feel people could benefit from working with someone like Joe?
Well, I know the benefits that I personally have garnered from my relationship with Joe over the last 20 plus years. I think one of the things that he has been able to do for me is to get me organized and get me set in the correct direction at certainly someone that's extremely knowledgeable, much more knowledgeable than I with finance. So I don't say thank you enough to him, but I guess on the air it'd be nice to say thank you because I feel
You like hearing that, don't you,
as
Joe?
as I get closer to retiring, I feel a heck of a lot more comfortable. And the baby boomers are retiring at just phenomenal numbers. So it's to be prepared. And fortunately, when I met Joe 20 plus years ago, he started preparing me for the time when I'm not going to have that paycheck coming in. And it's something that's critical. And you mentioned Medicare, and just making the correct, knowledgeable decisions is something that, most people are getting their information from their friends that know less than I do.
Right.
So, I think whether it's Joe or some other qualified professional, it's extremely important to reach out to them.
Well, thank you, Jim. Thanks for that compliment. We do appreciate it. And like we've always said, to anyone, you more because you're in the studio with us, but we become a financial resource to a lot of people, and we care about people in a lot of different ways, and we recognize that, this economy of ours has never seen this before. And one thing we just talked about was the baby boomers. I mean, 10,000 a day are retiring, and it's in droves, and most of them don't have enough money or never thought about having enough money to retire, let alone having a lifestyle that they're going to, be in their retirement years a lot longer than expected. So to navigate through that alone in the current economies is not only difficult, but it's overwhelming with, nobody has the time, the effort, and want to look through all the internet things that we talked about, or reading the paper, or listening to the news. I mean, it's gotten overwhelming for us. So, we're happy that you're here, and we're happy that we do business with you. And I know that you're a big supporter in a lot of things that we do, and we are a big supporter in a lot of things you do. In closing, Jim, is there anything that you want to tell the audience out there on what's happening, or what's anything new in the State House that we should be getting ready to be prepared for any of those things?
Well, I think that as we're coming close to the end of June, that the budget is something that has a tremendous impact on a lot of the residents of the state of New Jersey. And so people should keep their eye on it, and keep their eye on how their representatives are representing them. And so I think that's the thing that we're looking at in the next couple of weeks. And I believe that we are going to strike a real quality compromise with Governor Christie, Senate President Sweeney, and Sheila Oliver, our Assembly Speaker.
Very good. And, the one thing that I really feel passionate about is you have to earn your right to complain as a resident. So, I tell people all the time, there are things that you can do, and be communicative with your representatives, your senators, whatever level it is. Just speak to us for a minute about how people can communicate with you, or how people can somehow make their voices heard in addition to voting.
Well, I'll tell you what, and voting is certainly the most important thing. That's your opportunity to say, hey, you're doing a good job, or, hey, I'm not so sure I like what you're doing. So, that's the best way. However, there are certain state websites where you can follow your particular legislative team. For each senator, there's 2 assembly people, and you could follow the way we are representing you. And I would suggest, especially if there are things that interest you, whether it's education, et cetera, make sure that your voices are heard, and you do that by email, any social media, or by phone.
Absolutely. I agree with you. Like I said, earn your right to complain, because when people complain, the first thing is, first of all, did you vote? And what are you doing to make it better? If you're doing all those things, then all right, let's complain together.
Well, Jim, you've been in South Jersey now for pretty much all your life, would you say?
Yep.
And I know your dad is a big vet guy, and you are, and you stand behind that. So, is there any your next level when you get out of this game, which might be another? I don't know. I don't see you retiring from what you're doing now, Jim Beach. I don't know how you can even use the R word in front of me, especially. Not what I understand. You're a great advocate of tennis with some people that I know, and you still get out there every chance you get to play golf. I mean, what retirement? What is that word for you?
That's just an R word that doesn't mean too much right now, but hopefully I'm God willing, my health stays, because that's what it's all about. If you're healthy and you're active, that just makes the R word sound a little like more fun.
I will say for the listening audience, do not be deceived by Jim Beach. He's got a driver that's probably can go 300 yards, and I have seen that driver go 300 yards. So I know
just not when I hit it.
Yeah, well, you're pretty consistent. It just must be me. Every time I play you, you're always on your game. But I know you work out. You still look great. You still think the way that I can remember back in the day when I first met with you, and you're still vibrant. So we hope for you to stay around for a long time.
Joe, you're talking about him.
Well, we want to see Jim Beach here for a long time in terms of his position with the county and what he does for us, and he's really a force to be reckoned with when it comes to the Senate. And I think he's a smart guy. He has a great background and a great distribution on what he does and what he stands for. So we're very happy that you came up to see us today. I know you got a lot of things to do today, so thank you very much, Big Jim.
Thanks for having me, Joe. Thanks for having me, Tracy.
Absolutely. You're a great guest, and I'm always impressed by your desire to want to help people. And that just makes you such a great friend of our show. So thank you so much for joining us, and we hope you will continue to stay with us here on Main Street Money every Saturday from 1 to 2 p.m. on Cruisin' 92.1 WVLT. We'll see you on the other side of the break. Are you approaching 65 and starting to think about Medicare? Or maybe you're about to retire and you're unsure what to do for your health care coverage. Or maybe you've been on Medicare for years but are unsure if you're getting the best benefit or if you're paying too much. There can be so many questions and concerns when considering your Medicare options. And let's be honest, healthcare is different for everyone. So there is no one-size-fits-all product or options. It's all about you. And that's why at JML Financial Group, we specialize in Medicare planning, and we know all the options. Now it's time for you to know all of your options. Call us today for a free no-obligation review of your Medicare options and pricing. www.jmlfinancialgroup or call us at 856-751-1771.
We're back with Main Street Money with Joe Yakovich and Tracy Kelly every Saturday from 1 to 2, and I'm having some good day today. I'm going to tell you something. Today is another monstrous day. Not only is it absolutely beautiful, but my co-host has collected a bunch of emails we got, and we're going to fire a few at me today so I can hear what you have
and
to
it's
say.
summer, and I hear there's some talk of 90-degree weather coming up, so that makes me smile.
Yes.
The hotter the better. Okay.
Hit it.
We actually, we had a cornucopia of questions.
I love the
this
cornucopia
week.
mentality
I
today.
don't know if that even made sense, but
Go ahead.
We got a lot of questions that came in this week, so I tried to pick some that are
I'm cool.
very good for everybody. Okay, first one is, My mother-in-law is 79 and on a fixed income. The company that provides her pension has offered her the chance to take a lump sum instead of getting the $555 a month she's currently getting. She's in reasonably good health. She spends the $555 along with her Social Security, but says it's harder and harder to make ends meet. So the checks don't grow with inflation.
Right.
Should she take the lump sum or should she stick with the monthly checks?
I am a believer of the lump sum, and I'll tell you why. You know, it's very common that we hear this and we're faced with this question quite a bit, and this is including school teachers, firemen, police officers. And basically what we see is living off the monthly that doesn't increase because of inflation a lot of times. It doesn't generate more income, and considering inflation and taxes, and this is taxable, are going in a direction that we don't like to talk about. But we don't get that lump sum where if you needed extra money, more than $550 that we're talking about here, you can't access that money. So that's a big issue. The other thing is you got to be careful with the mother-in-law, because is she spendthrift? Does she understand how, you know, burning through that money, she might not have any left over at the end. So, but if you have someone that puts together a couple different buckets for her, and buckets of money being what strategy she's going to start to pull out money at a certain time, but still gives her access to the money, potentially for if something came up, an emergency, you know, some planned obsolescence situation that she might have been looking at, she would have that money. And the other thing is not blowing through it, but another thing is if she wanted to, she might give herself an increase of income, spend more if necessary for, you know, God forbidden situations that could occur down the road. The flip side of that, she burns through the money and she spends it like a drunken sailor, which is not good.
Or maybe she's got a bunch of freeloading family members
Yeah,
that are trying to take loans off grandma.
We've been in that situation
seen
too.
that.
So we also, and that's funny you say that
Not
because
cool.
I just did this just recently with a client of ours that I put some of her money, I locked it up specifically for monthly, and I did some of it where she would have access to it if necessary going forward. So we're a big believer of making sure you take the lump. The other thing is, if you do take the monthly, and if the woman or a man in this case a woman, would pass along, you know what? That check stops. So there is zero money going to the family as an inheritance. So we're big believers of investing the money prudently, taking the lump sum, diversified in a way that she's going to get some income, and obviously factor in, if we can, inflation riders that she'll have an increase of income as she continues to live in her future. Yep.
Yeah, and we've seen that more and more with certain clients being offered this lump sum buyout, if you will, because companies are dealing with more and more retirees, you know, and a lot of times they're saying, you know what, just take the lump sum. We don't feel like administrating this monthly cost.
Well, I don't know if you know, Tracy, back in the day, the pensions, as we're talking about, or pension types, a lot of companies go in recognizing they cannot continue to pay the pension number out, in this case 5-something. They can go in there and change it or take away some of it. So there's another big question mark on why we believe that taking the lump sum is much more prudent than actually going out and, you know, taking that monthly check every month for themselves.
All right, next question.
What do you got?
My wife is a stay-at-home mom. I've been told that I should put some life insurance on her, but I'm really unsure considering she doesn't make any kind of an income. What are your thoughts on this?
Whoa, good question. Very good question. And we see that all the time. We have people that come in, not all the time, but a lot of times. We believe that you should have some life insurance on the stay-at-home mom for a lot of reasons. There's an economic value to a wife or a stay-at-home mom. You know, think about it. Cooking, child care, transportation. I mean, there's so much stuff that a woman does.
Cleaning, helping with homework.
Right. I mean, it's endless. I don't have to tell you. You know the numbers. You know, by being, you know, with your mom in situations, you know, there's an economic value. What happens if something happened to mom? So, yes, we believe you should have some type of life insurance. And now I'm going to use a number that I'm going to estimate it to be. If you had to hire a person to do all the things that mom would have to do or been doing, it would range between $30,000 and $40,000 a year.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
just think about it. If you had to do it for 10 years, that's $300,000+ to $500,000 that you'd have to have someone come in to do what mom does. So yes, there's an economic value on stay-at-home moms. You need to have some insurance on the stay-at-home moms. It's important for you to understand part of the big picture that it's important to have protection or some type of protection on the stay-at-home mom. So we are advocating big time. There's got to be and should be prudently some insurance or some type of protection on the stay-at-home mom.
Yeah, and think about it. I would wager to say that 30,000 is a low number
Oh, yeah.
considering mom's job tends to be 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Oh, listen to me.
So
I
to be
remember
done the exact way that mom does it, that's
just to hire a housekeeper and a
unaffordable.
driver to transport, children to activities in itself is it's so much of what they do. It's just endless. So yes, most people overlook that and one important factor because they think, if something happened or it never will happen, no, I can't buy that. So yes, we're big believers of making sure you have some type of protection on the stay-at-home mom.
Okay, next question.
Good
Or
question. I
stay-at-home
like that.
dad if we're being PC here at Main Street Money.
We're being what?
I said if we're being PC here at Main Street
like
Money,
it.
could
I
be
like
a stay-at-home dad too.
Yeah, it could be. Yep.
Next is a question about when to take Social Security benefits. Question is, I have about $1.5 million invested in my retirement account and other places. Well, very well done. I just turned 65.
Good job.
But I did not apply for Social Security because I'm still working at a great job and Social Security didn't have any cost of living increases for the past couple of years. Told myself I'd wait another year or so. Waiting just 1 year increases my benefit to 8%. Did I make the right decision?
Couple of questions. I love the decision you made. But number two, how is your health? Do you have ailing health or you have great health? You have great health. I'm suggesting for you to continue to work and wait to the last chance for you to start to take it, which would be 70. There's a tremendous benefit to that. You'll get obviously the maximum amount that you can receive. But more importantly, if you're still in the workforce, which I still believe you should be in, not because you have to, let's hope, in this case, you want to. I was just with someone today in his 70s, and he said, I'll never stop working. And this is a gentleman in his 70s, close to 80 years of age. And we had a conversation just somewhat or similar to this question. And I said, he goes, I never worked a day of my life because I love what I do. And I said, that's how I feel. So for those of you that are thinking about taking Social Security early, it depends on your age and also your history of potential, issues that could come up, meaning death issues of becoming disabled. Are you in good health? So if you're in bad health, then we're suggesting, obviously, to take it immediately. But if you're in great health and you're still working, Tracy Kelly, I'm telling you to just keep on forging ahead and more importantly, staying in the game. We talk about the game. I mean, staying in the game keeps us or the people that are in their 60s and 70s much younger and vibrant and to continue to give back. So I'm a big believer in it. If you want to look at the numbers, I will shoot some numbers out to you a little later on what happens with Social Security.
I hear
of
you,
that.
but come on, Joe. I'm a little bit of a believer of enjoying your retirement. Not everybody loves what they do. Those are lucky and blessed people, and we hope that they're more and more. But some people don't love what they do. And
Well, those
don't
people,
want to stay in
if
the
those
game.
people don't love what they do, then find something they do love what they do, because you only get one life here. But
Okay,
if
but
they
that's
don't
not the
like
question at hand. So
it, okay,
let's
but if they
stick with
don't
the
like
question.
it, then if they don't like it, and if they're still working, if their working income is significant enough for them to continue their lifestyle, then they shouldn't take it. But if their lifestyle is not what they'd like it to be, or they need more income, then obviously take it. But if there are people out there that are healthy, wait. So it's a kind of a juggling of different type of balls. It depends on your health. It depends on how much you have saved. In this case, the woman has 1.5. So I'm suggesting to her she has enough money to continue to, if she could wait and she's still working. That's the question that you gave me. But if this was opposite, if she didn't have any money or had very little money, then she's forced to take Social Security. But she's going to understand that there's a dip in.
But what you got to do is what you got to do.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, it depends
So,
on every person.
you can't tell the world to go find their passion at, that's not going to be everybody. That's not going to be
I agree with you,
everybody.
but in this case,
So
1.5, you
let's-
gave me that one, and that's the one I've
Okay,
answered. So
that's
I'm
all
here.
I'm asking.
Everyone's a little different. I'd agree with you.
Moving along.
Moving along.
Next
Moving along.
question.
What is it?
I said next question.
Next question.
My wife and I just read a notice from our John Hancock policy concerning our long-term care insurance. I know what this is. They are increasing our cost 23%. We are outraged. There's an exclamation point there. What is going on here? Where will it end? Is this type of increase industry-wide? What do we do?
Well, I know for a fact, and I think everyone should know this, when they do buy long-term care insurance, they need to understand that it's going to go up. They don't know, and they still don't know because the jury's not out. It's only been around for about 30, 40 years.
Yeah, and only really more popular more recently, I would say, in the past maybe 15, 20 years.
Right, and most people really, and actuarially, the insurance companies don't know how long people will be in these homes. So
Right.
what they miscalculated, the big insurance companies,
Or
and
can't calculate. Can't.
miscalculated?
Well, sometimes I think it's not a miscalculation. They can't calculate how long, with medical advances.
Right, and they
the
never
way
thought
they
about
are,
that. They never thought about that.
There's no way, looking at the number of baby boomers coming into retirement,
Right.
When the average nursing home stay was 2 years, who knows? Maybe the average is going to be 10 years.
Well, the premise was to put blocks of business enforced, and then every couple of years, the new block of business that would increase the premiums of the long-term care policy cost. Well, unfortunately, that didn't work. A lot of the larger companies out there withdrew, from the marketplace, and some of the companies that we're familiar with, that's been around for a long time, they pulled out of the marketplace. So long-term care industry changed dramatically over the last 5 years. But something you need to understand, and I'm going to throw some things out to you. Why do you need long-term care? What are the reasons?
Before you go on to that, what's
Sure.
your answer, though, to this question? What do they do? Do they keep the policy?
They really have.
keep
They
on
really have.
paying
Yeah,
it?
they have to keep the policy because the new contracts, unless they go out and look at new numbers, will it be different, or how much of a difference would the premiums be? Number one. Number two, are they still in good health
Right.
to get the new policies? And number three, does the company that they're going to potentially look at to purchase new, insurance, long-term care insurance, what kind of track record has it itself has performed? Meaning that has the increases been higher than the company you just talked about? We don't know that. So there's some due diligence you need to do before you find a company for yourselves to purchase long-term care insurance, and you need to look into it a little deeper,
Right.
go a little bit more narrow and deep on this situation, because that's the biggest concern. The premiums are going to go up; they're not guaranteed.
Well, and for the people out there who have not looked into it yet, it's something that's a kind of a glimmer in your eye, thinking, I know I should get to this. There really are some interesting alternatives to traditional long-term care policies
Yes,
that
there
are
is.
available now, whether it's riders on life insurance or, there's annuities that are out there with long-term care riders and things like that.
Well, let's talk about that if you would. Would you mind mentioning? You mentioned the first one. There are insurance companies out there, ladies and gentlemen, that you can actually buy life insurance as a traditional life insurance, and attached is a very cost-efficient rider that attaches to the policy that will act like a long-term care contract. Now, will not give you 100% of the death benefit back, but what it will do, it will give you close to 90%. So, for instance, if someone at
you use
50 bought a life insurance policy, and if they had to use the policy for long-term care purposes when the client was in their 70s, they could, in essence, take a percentage of the death benefit before they die and use it purposely for the long-term care coverage, either in-home or in a facility. So these vehicles out there are becoming more pronounced and more available because, this is what the public is asking for. So this was not the case 20 years ago, but you're seeing more and more of it because of one of the reasons the cost for long-term care is driving the number up where people are going, I can't afford to spend $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. And if I don't go into a facility, will I get that money back?
Yeah. Yeah,
Remember, that's a pure cost. Like buying
is.
automobile insurance. I mean, you don't
Yeah.
get money back after, 30 years that you used it. Well, no
And
difference
that's
in
why
here.
we see a lot of people forego certain insurances,
Right.
life insurance, long-term care, because of that. It's almost taking that gamble. I mean, you really can't take the gamble with car insurance because you're mandated by the state. But we
Right.
see that a lot, and it's that toss-up of, shoot, should I get it? Because, it's if I don't use it, well, then I just wasted my money. Well, yeah, but if you need it, you will be very glad you have it. And we've got a lot of statistics and numbers here to show
Well, I don't want to beat a
the
dead
risk
horse,
can
but
be.
I'll give you a couple and you'll give me a couple. I mean, think about it. 70% of the estimated percentage of Americans age 65 or older will need some type of long-term care. I mean, that's astounding. 70% of over 65. And the average person going in to be admitted into a nursing home, not in-home, but a nursing home, is close to 80% average is admitted, or 80 years old, I should say, that it's admitted. Now, the numbers are staggering. We know that. And we also, and I think all of you out there that are listening, we recognize the baby boomers are coming out in droves. And are coming out in a big way that, it's going to affect everything that we do, how people look at things, how people buy things, and obviously this long-term care. You want to mention one or two of them?
I'm just going to give one more because this
Sure.
is something that's overlooked. Almost $42,000 is the average annual cost for a personal care assistant. Now, that's somebody that's not providing, medical
Right.
things. So somebody who's doing your cooking, your errands, your bathing, that kind of thing, not covered by Medicare, not covered by traditional health policies. That's out of pocket. So, a long-term care policy really could be the saving grace of what eats up your retirement nest egg.
It keeps the family together too, Tracy, because I know you've been through it with your
yeah.
mom, and I will tell all of you that, indirectly, I kind of felt it when you used to tell me stories about mom, and it was
Yeah, my
it was
mom
one-
was, she was definitely doing a lot of work.
Yeah, and it really
for
changes
grandma,
everything.
so-
I mean, everybody, and I've been through my own personal situation with before my mom passed, where my sisters had to really take care of mom, and it's really disrupts not only the family and relationships, but if you have a sister who lives in Florida, and you have someone who lives in
Yeah.
California, you have someone who lives local, who's going to be responsible? The person local. So,
I know.
and it's usually
I've
on the
got
lap of who?
the female.
You got it. So again, you guys come up big,
And lucky
strong.
me, I've got 3 brothers.
Yes, lucky you. Luck. That's
And
why you're
usually it
working
ends
out.
up falling
That's why
off.
you're keeping in shape, just in case.
So I
right?
can lift my mom up.
Taking
No,
care of
just
mom
kidding.
and dad. I know you will be.
Dad's going to the brothers, mom's going to me. So that's our threat to him when he acts up. We say, you know that my brother's going to babysit you with duct tape.
Oh, you're bad. Well, another great show,
kidding.
Tracy Kelly. We had an opportunity to be with Jim Beach today, so I couldn't be
Yes,
more
thank
happier.
you,
He did a great
Senator.
job. I will see everybody next Saturday. More importantly, we're going to have a great time this Sunday at McGuire Air Force Base. Another great Saturday with Tracy Kelly, Joe Yakovich, WVLT, Main Street Money, 92.1. You want to say anything before we leave, Tracy?
I hope everybody enjoys the beginning of their celebration of summer. We'll see you next week, everyone.
I woke up this morning, got myself a gun. Mama always said I'd be the chosen one.
Joe Yakovich and Tracy Kelly are registered representatives and financial advisors of Park Avenue Securities, LLC, Manasquan, New Jersey, New York, New York, and financial representatives of the Guardian Life Insurance Company of America. PAS is an indirect, wholly owned subsidiary of Guardian. JML Financial Group is not an affiliate or subsidiary of PAS or Guardian.